portion of the tickets sold today will go to help that initiative, and it's important. Obviously, we love it because we get to perform here, but it's, you know, it's a national treasure, quite frankly. And so, if there are opportunities for you to support it in other ways, there's a website that you can go to. They are a nonprofit, so donations are encouraged, of course. This is our final show in a weekend run. It has been an amazing ride. I will say that. It has been challenging, and if you produce theater, you understand what that means. Very challenging, but so rewarding in the end. This cast has come together and has created something truly special, and I hope you truly enjoy it. Bathrooms are in the back. Exits are on either side lit with signs. We do have 2 intermissions, and that's built in on purpose because the show is running about 2.5 hours. That includes those intermissions, but you'll notice as we get further along, or maybe you won't because it'll be so amazing and you just won't even know that your bottom is starting to hurt. We built those breaks in there so that you can use the restroom and get a break from the chairs and go outside if it starts to get too warm. We also have concession by donation. There's water there as well if you need the water. This is our second production here. We did Romeo and Juliet in December. And so as part of that and as part of this, we try and give warnings about material. I'm assuming that most of you either have a sense of what Hedda is about, and if not, it's dark. But there are also very funny parts in the play, and it's an adaptation that we felt and were excited about doing because it felt accessible. So hopefully you'll find those funny moments, those light moments, because certainly there are, but there's also some challenging things. There are suicidal ideations that are discussed in the play. There is gunfire, not gunfire, but like live gunfire. It's a starter gun from a race, right? Like it's not. But there's that, and there's also some blood. So just in case, we just like to put that out there so nobody is completely surprised, but I promise you will be surprised when it happens. This is a cast of novice actors all the way through folks who have returned from New York to be with us to be part of this, who have received training. Other people, this is just a hobby. Some people, this is, you know, they do film versus theater. So we have a beautiful range of performers here for you, and they've worked really hard to put this together. So I hope that you enjoy the first act of Hedda Gabler.
What's that, Miss? Shh. What did you say, Miss Julia?
Keep your voice down, Bertha. We're too early. They're not awake yet.
He must be exhausted.
Oh, they both must be.
Why wouldn't he be? It was all hours before the steamer berthed, and then, when she got up here, nothing would do her, but she would unpack everything before she went to bed.
She is an efficient young lady.
Why does she call me Berta then?
Oh, I'm sure she just misheard your name.
She must have had a dozen trunks of stuff.
4, Bertha. Just 4.
And 9 boxes. I counted them.
Good for you. Well, let them have a good lie and put those flowers down somewhere.
Where?
Anywhere. There. And when they do get up, let them take in a good breath of that fresh Norwegian air.
But where will I put?
Give that to me.
Oh. I'm never going to get the hang of this house, Miss Juliana.
Now, don't be silly.
It's not going to work out. I know it's not. And I'm afraid
We'll have none of that, Bertha. You are going to be very happy here. Do you think I would have parted with you for anybody but Miss Hedda? Besides, you'll have George just as you've had his entire life. But what will I do without you?
You're the only family I've ever known. You, Master George, and lovely Miss Rena.
Well, very little will change. You'll continue to take care of George here in this house, just as you've done his entire life. And I will drop by as often as I can.
But that new maid you've got, she won't be able to look after Miss Rena.
She'll-
A rough lump like that.
She will learn,
Take care of
Berta.
an invalid.
She will learn. Don't you worry. And I'll be there. We'll manage.
But Miss Hedda, Mrs. George, I just know she doesn't like me.
Doesn't like you? What nonsense is this? She scarcely knows you yet.
She's a very cold woman.
I'm sure once you get to know her, then you'll come to love her just as much as you love George. And not just because she's George's wife.
And a very bossy woman.
Well, isn't she the daughter of General Gabler? With a household full of all her orderlies to boss around? Do you remember when we used to see her out riding on that enormous black horse in that elegant black riding dress?
And a feather in her hat, kind of defiant. Who would have ever thought that herself and our Georgie?
Oh, not our Georgie anymore. No, when he was away in Germany, they made a doctor out of him. Our Georgie is now Dr. George Tessman.
I know.
He was so excited he blurted it out before he got to the foot of the gangway last night. How do you know?
It was her first instruction when she stepped into this house. You will now refer to Mr. Tessman as Dr. Tessman.
Imagine if poor Joachim was still here with us to see his precious little boy grown into such an accomplished man. And soon enough, there'll be an even bigger title coming his way.
Bigger than doctor?
Bigger than doctor.
Well, what would be bigger than doctor?
Well, guess.
They're going to make a vet out of him.
He's not that kind of doctor, Bertha. He's an academic doctor. But when the other title comes his way, as he himself would say, oh my goodness, my goodness. Well, anyways, why have you removed the covers from these chairs?
She told me to, Miss Hedda. They remind her of shrouds, she said.
So they must be going to make this their living room. Georgie, good morning.
Auntie Choo-Choo. What a wonderful surprise first thing in the morning.
I'm afraid it was far too early to have called.
Early? No, not a bit. Why, the earlier the better, I say. Oh, and Bertha! How are you, Bertha?
She hasn't slept in 3 days waiting for you to return.
Oh, it was the toothache, really.
My very own Bertha. Look at the two of you. Oh my goodness, it's so nice to see you both. What a great joy it is to come down to this. Thank you so much for meeting me and Hedda off the tender last night. That wasn't at all unnecessary.
Well, I wanted to make sure that you were settled in.
Oh, why, it's as if we'd lived here our entire lives, Auntie Choo-Choo. But we were so sorry we couldn't squeeze you into the carriage with us last night. I mean, there was scarcely even room for me with all of darling Hedda's luggage.
A dozen trunks and 9 boxes.
Easy, Bertha. But how did you get home?
Oh, Judge Brack saw me right up to my door.
Ah, well, good for him. What unqualified joy it is to come down to this. Why, it's as if I'd never left home. All we need now is lovely Auntie Rena as well, and we'd be a complete family again. Tell me, how is she?
I'm afraid my darling sister is slipping away very quietly and very slowly.
Oh, Auntie Choo-Choo.
It's not easy to watch.
Oh, that must just be awful.
I swear it's Bertha that keeps her alive.
Oh, I wish I could.
Oh, I'm sure that's true.
You'll see a very big change.
Oh, I will go see her today.
But if she were to leave, and now with you gone, my life would be hollow, wouldn't it?
I'm not gone, Auntie Choo-Choo. I'm right here, and I'll always be here.
Is there anything I can do for Miss Hedda?
Oh, no, not a thing, Bertha, thank you. I think we'll let her rest a little while longer. Oh, but there is something you can do for me, though. Put this case up into the attic, would you?
Certainly, Doctor.
Doctor? Is Miss Bertha being saucy with me?
And maybe even a vet soon.
Vet?
We are all very proud of you, Georgie.
Oh, yes. Well, isn't it a shocking thing to admit? Okay, no, not shocking. Embarrassing. No, not embarrassing either. Pathetic. Really pathetic. Did you see that case? Oh, it is absolutely packed full of materials for my new book. You wouldn't believe what I've uncovered all over Europe. In private museums, archives, libraries. Just absolutely incredible material. I mean, stuff that other people have just completely forgotten about.
So your honeymoon wasn't all gadding about and pleasure then?
Certainly not. Come sit with me a while before Hedda appears. She's going to tell me of all the gossip I've missed in the past 6 months. And take your bonnet off. No. It was always my job, wasn't it?
It's It's as if you were just at home.
Well, this is new, isn't it?
A week old. I got it in a charity sale.
Well, if Miss Juliana Tesman isn't the most elegant lady in town.
I got it for Hedda, so she wouldn't be ashamed of me if we were to go for a walk together.
Why, you are a very special, no, a most special aunt.
Your honeymoon was the longest 6 months of my life. I thought there was times I'd never see you again.
But here I am.
Here you are, a married man, into Hedda Gabler, who half the men in town were mad about.
I know. Lucky, lucky George Tesman.
Indeed.
I'm more than lucky. Oh, I'm blessed. Oh, I am blessed, ain't I?
You deserve to be. But my secret hope is, Georgie, that you have great good news for me. Well?
I believe I've given you all the news in my letters.
No, really, really good news, Georgie.
The doctorate?
No.
I believe I've told you about all that.
No. Really, really great good news. You know, you and Hedda, special news.
The professorship.
That's not really
It's
what...
as good as mine, Auntie Juju. If you are to believe the rumors, I should be making the announcement of my appointment any day now. Professor George Tesman. There's just a ring to it.
Yes.
Well, then I'll be doubly blessed, won't I?
I hope so, Georgie. That honeymoon must have cost you a fortune.
Several fortunes.
It didn't, did it?
Oh, joking. It was expensive. You know my wife, she isn't exactly a frugal woman. The grant covered most of the trip. Well, some of it. But not to worry, Auntie Juju, I have everything in hand.
And have you had a chance to look over the house yet?
Oh, I was up at daybreak.
Well?
The house is wonderful. No, the house is magnificent.
It is a beautiful home.
Yes, but what are we to do with those 2 extra bedrooms? You know, between the back door and Hedda's room?
Oh, I'm sure you'll find a use for him, Georgie. In time.
Oh, for my library. The very thing.
Yes, Georgie, for your library.
Yes, that's a really good idea. You know, we're so lucky just to get this place. The only place in town, the whole world really, that Hedda said she would ever consider living in, and it goes on the market right as we set off on our honeymoon. So what do the cautious Tesmans do? Why, we promptly buy it, of course.
Well, it is a very dear house.
Well, these things are relative, aren't they? Anyhow, Judge Bragg gave us such favorable terms for it. He wrote to Hedda and explained it all.
And I put the security for the rugs and the bits and pieces.
You?
You seem surprised.
My darling Auntie Juju, you have no money.
My darling nephew, Georgie, I have my annuities, haven't I?
Yes, but your annuity is only so much.
So I raised a modest mortgage against
What?
Serena and I's trust.
That's all the money that you have in the world.
A mere formality, no risk involved. Judge Bragg assures me. Besides, to be able to offer you a little bit of assistance, do you know how much pleasure that brings me? No mother and no father, just 2 ancient aunts able to lend a hand. And look how wonderfully you've turned out, Dr. Tesman.
Have I?
Haven't you? A magnificent home.
An adorable aunt.
A beautiful wife.
2 adorable aunts.
A well-deserved doctorate.
Indeed.
And a professorship just around the corner.
Yes. I guess the only question is now, will George Tesman ever come back down to earth again?
Oh, don't be in a hurry, Georgie. Where are all those rivals of yours, those mean-spirited contemporaries who tried to thwart your every move? Where are they? Washed up. And where's that most awful wretch of them all, that terrible libertine? Where is he?
Libertine? Why, the good lady can't be talking about my very old friend Eilert Lovborg.
Friend?
The hugely talented Eilert Lovborg.
Debauchee.
She may be, I suspect.
Lying in a bed of his own squalor, I hope.
Juju.
Oh, forgive me.
Yes, indeed. But tell me, have you heard anything about Lovborg in the past 6 months?
Just that he's put out a new book.
He has not.
For what it's worth.
A new book out. Isn't he astonishing, Eilert Lovborg?
If anybody's interested.
Oh, people are very interested, Auntie Juju.
No. Now when your book comes out, then they'll sit up. Tell me, Georgie, what's it about?
You really shouldn't leave Miss Rita alone for too long.
In a moment, Bertha, I'll be going.
Domestic craft and husbandry, parts of Belgium and Holland in the 10th century.
Oh, fascinating.
Oh, you're very sweet. I'm afraid it won't appear for a very long time. I mean, there's still months and months worth of research and cataloging that have to be done.
And you are very good at that.
I can't wait to get at it. And in my very own home, too.
Miss Juliana.
Going in a moment. And with the woman of your dreams.
That is truly the most wonderful thing that's ever happened to me, Auntie Juju.
I know.
You know, I cannot get over Lovebrook having a new book out. Oh, Hedda!
Good morning, Hedda. A very good morning indeed.
Good morning to you too, Miss Testament. Don't you know where the kitchen is? An early visit, isn't it?
Thank you, Bertha,
For what?
for putting my case up for me.
I've already apologized to Georgie, and how did you sleep?
Off and on.
Off and on. You went out cold when I got up there.
New surroundings take a little getting used to, Miss Testament.
Juliana, Juju even, I'm afraid.
So it will take some getting used to. Why did the maid open those windows? The sun is blinding.
I can close them.
No. George, you close them.
Of course.
No, just pull the curtains. It's stifling in here with all those flowers.
Certainly. There you are. Fresh air and shade.
Aren't you going to take a seat, Miss Testament?
No, now that I know that you both are fine, I really must be going. If I leave Sabrina alone for any length of time, she gets so agitated.
Please bring her my love.
I will.
And tell her that I will be over to see her this afternoon.
Oh, Georgie,
Yes?
from Rena.
Oh my goodness. I don't believe it. Look, Hedda, look. Oh, for heaven's sake. My slippers.
How did you see?
She knows all about them, Auntie Juju. I say magnificent.
As soon as he realized he left them behind, I knew it was a disaster.
That's a bit unfair, Hedda. But, yes. Look, Hedda, look. Auntie Rena's exquisite embroidery. I mean, every year when my birthday would come around, she would painstakingly sketch out a new wildflower and then she would embroider it. It might take, what, 2 to 3 months just to finish it? But there's a wake robin and a sea aster. Oh, and this one was for my 25th, the triumphant carmine pretensis. Look, a lady's smock. Look at the subtlety, the precision of those lilac leaves. In autumn's crocus, the shepherd's purse, those shy greens and browns and cheeky pinks. Oh, that's right, a white archangel. Do you remember? Oh, and a saucy little vetch. That one was for my 18th. I mean, such skill, such artistry. Oh my goodness, Hedda. These are the chronicle of my life. The record of my deepest emotions, my most opulent memories. Look, Hedda.
What has it to do with me?
What do you mean?
It's not my emotions, not my memories, are they?
No, they're not, darling. But if they're special to me.
That is right. They are special. To you.
But Hedda's part of the family now. And surely what's important to me will be important to her.
You've got to let that maid go, Miss Testament.
Has Bertha go?
Oh, Hedda.
What are you saying?
What sort of sloven is she? Things lying all over the place, flowers lying everywhere, and look at this old bonnet lying on the piano.
Oh,
That is Auntie Juju's bonnet, Hedda.
Oh,
and a fairly new bonnet. In fact, it is its first outing on my head.
my mistake.
It is a very, very blessed bonnet to be worn by such an elegant lady.
Don't be silly, George. Bonnets can't be blessed. Only people.
Of course.
My walking stick, if you will. Also mine, and also new.
I swear, I have never, ever seen you look more graceful, Auntie Juju. Isn't she graceful, Hedda?
Lovely.
You're lovely too, darling. Beautiful. Beautiful without qualification. Isn't Hedda beautiful?
Hedda is beautiful.
Yes. And have you noticed that she's put on a little bit of weight in our travels. A little bit more ample. Attractively more ample.
George, please!
She thinks that evening gown disguises it, but I can tell, you know.
You can tell nothing at all.
I can. I can, darling. But besides, all those enormous plates of fruit strudel contributed as well.
I am exactly the same as I was before we went away.
No, I'm sorry, my darling. Just that tiny bit plumper and hugely more attractive.
God's sakes, man.
Well, can't I right, Auntie Juju?
Hedda is beautiful. Hedda has always been beautiful. God bless and keep you, Hedda, for George's sake.
Please, please.
I really must be going, but I will visit every day.
Oh, wonderful. Nobody would be more welcome. Oh, what a sophisticated woman that is. What are you looking at?
The leaves, yellow and withered already.
Well, we are in September, you know.
I know, don't I know?
Did you notice anything off about Auntie Juju? A bit withdrawn, maybe?
I couldn't tell, I don't know her well enough.
I so hope I didn't say anything wrong.
Maybe that episode with the bonnet offended her. I'll have to make it up to her.
Oh, Hedda, would you?
Yes, but when you visit them this afternoon, invite her to come spend the evening with us.
Oh, she'd love that. And you know, darling, there is something else I know she'd love too. Do you think that you could call her Auntie Juju?
That is a ridiculous name.
Is it? I guess
We
it
have
was.
discussed this before.
Yes, but you're part of the family now, Hedda.
You
Aunt
cannot
Juliana.
ask this of me, George.
Just Juliana?
I will not be coerced.
Hedda, for my sake, love. Please.
All right. I will call her aunt, and that is as far as I will go.
Thank you so much. You're much too generous. What's the matter?
My old piano is completely out of place with these new furnishings.
Oh. Well, when my salary starts to come through soon, we can look into selling it and getting another one.
No, I couldn't part with it. I think we should move it in there, and I want a new one here.
I suppose we could look into it.
Well, these weren't here when you got them last evening.
Maybe Auntie Juju left them for you.
Coming back very soon, Mrs. Elvsted.
Who?
Mrs. T. Elvsted.
Taya Elstead? Really? Taya Reesing that used to be.
Okay, Reesing indeed. An old flame of yours, am I right?
For all of a week, Hedda. And that was long before I knew you.
Haven't seen her, and not since we were at school together. A sincere creature, I remember, and anxious, was so anxious. With a mass of ridiculous curls she thought were her greatest asset and kept flaunting them. Why is she calling us?
She must be going off of her head, I suspect. Up in that awful little backwater she lives in. Near Trondheim, wasn't it? You know, I remember hearing that she married an elderly magistrate up there.
Didn't he move up there too, to the Trondheim area?
Who?
Eilert Lovborg.
You know what? You're right. What in God's name brought him way up there?
She's back, madam.
Oh.
The lady who brought the flowers earlier.
Show her in. Ah, Mrs. Elmstead, it is lovely to see you again.
And you, Mrs. Kesman. It has been a long time.
Oh, yes, far too long. Thank you for the flowers. They were beautiful.
You're welcome.
Too long indeed, Miss Elstead.
And-
It's so nice to see you.
And a belated congratulations on both of you. I wish you both a long and happy life together.
Thank you.
When did you get into town?
Around lunchtime yesterday,
Ah.
I came straight here, and when you weren't here, I can't tell you, I felt desolate, desperate almost.
What's the matter, Mrs. Elmstead? Here, take a seat.
It's so relieving to be here with you both.
Sit here.
I can't.
No, sit, Mrs. Elmstead. Sit.
What's the matter?
Something's happening at home.
Oh, no, maybe we can help.
With your husband.
No, not really him. Well, partly him. It's
Take your time.
Eilert Lovborg is here.
Oh my God.
Here? You mean in town?
For the past week. Back in this treacherous environment that almost destroyed him a few years ago, and with no one to look after him, how can he survive? He can't, can he?
And Mr. Loveboard is not your responsibility, Mrs. Olmsted.
I know that, but he was my children's tutor, and I feel some responsibility for him. No, not my children. I don't have a family. My husband's children.
But was he... Oh, I'm sorry for how this will sound, but I just wouldn't think that Eilert Lovborg was in sufficient enough control of his own life to even be a tutor.
Eilert Lovborg is a new man.
Really?
For the past 3 years, his behavior has been impeccable.
Do you hear that, Hedda? His behavior.
He has himself completely in hand now. Eilert Lovborg is now exemplary.
Really?
But I worry for him here. Back in all the old haunts with all the sleazy hangers-on, and now with money in his pocket. He's bound to collapse again, isn't he?
Well, then why didn't he stay up in Trondheim with you and your husband?
How could he? The excitement of the new book coming out, strangers stopping him in the streets every day, reporters knocking at the door, scores of letters every day. He got so excited, so agitated. How could he be stuck in Trondheim? He had to get to the city.
You did mention something about his new book.
A cultural history of Europe, no less. And a instant success when it came out a fortnight ago. It's in its 5th reprint.
Wait. So you're telling me that this isn't a reworking of that monograph you published 7 years ago?
No. This is altogether new. And all done in the past 3 years when he was staying with us.
Well. Good for Eilert Lovborg, that's what I say. Lovborg resurrectus. Excellent news, isn't it, Hedda?
Eilert Lovborg, the celebrated author.
How do you met him here in town?
I only managed to find his address this morning.
Oh, and isn't your husband here to look after him? He is your husband's friend, isn't he?
He is away at the assizes somewhere. Anyhow, I had shopping to do.
Well, of course.
But he is bound to stop by here, isn't he? You two work in the same field.
Oh, adjoining fields.
And he's so fond of both of you. I know that.
And we are very fond of Eilert Lovborg, aren't we, Hedda?
Who could resist Eilert? My husband thinks the world of him. If he does stop by, you two will look after him, won't you?
Of course.
Without the anchor of a home, I'm afraid he'll just drift.
Anything that we can do for Eilert Lovborg, anything in the whole world, we'd be happy to do it.
Don't be stupid. Eilert Lovborg is going to drop in on us. The man is on a rampage, for God's sake. He's being toasted by scores of old and new friends, and even as we speak, he's probably painting the town scarlet.
Well, you don't think that he's
Do
already?
you really expect him to drop out of that wonderful delirium and drop on this drab anchorage? Well, do you?
So you think he's already lost?
I think if you want to save him from himself,
I must. Only I can. When he gets into one of these manic moods, he's capable of doing himself real damage.
then we must get him up here this very day. George will write to him.
Oh, that is a good idea, Hedda.
Will you?
Of course.
Here is his address.
The quicker the better.
I'll write to him at once.
Oh.
Make a formal invitation, George, but very warm. You do want him to come, don't you?
Why wouldn't I want him to come? My slippers.
Oh, I won't say anything about me having asked you.
Of course.
I pray to God he comes, Mrs. Tesman.
He'll come. You are so anxious. Get hold of yourself. And now that George has left us, we can really talk. Sit down here beside me.
I can't stay for long, Mrs. Tesman.
Oh, Mrs. Tessman. Mrs. Tessman, I am sick of damn conventions. It's Hedda. Hedda. We went to school together. You knew me as Hedda, and I knew you as Taya.
You were a year ahead of me.
Yes, about that.
I was terrified of you.
Taya!
When we met on the stair, you used to pull my hair.
Oh, wasn't I a little brat?
And one time, you said you would like to set fire to it.
I never did.
You meant it too.
Oh, God, I must have been such a demon.
It really was terrified of you.
Can you ever forgive me?
And then your father was Hedda Gabler, and mine was the storeman on the dock. That is another chasm. Anyhow, a long time ago, I really must be
Oh,
going.
no, you can't leave now, Mrs. Elstead. Wait until George writes his letter. Things haven't been going so well for you at home, have they?
I'd rather not talk about that.
Oh, you haven't forgiven me. Oh, Taya. I am so sorry. What can I ever do to make it up to you?
What is there to make up?
You're not at all accustomed to kindness, Taya, are you? Even at home?
I don't have a home. I never had a home.
You have the Elfstead home.
It's just an address.
You went there first as a housekeeper, didn't you?
I was employed as a governess. But his late wife, became very ill and was soon invalided. And I had to take care of all the household affairs as well.
So you became the mistress of the house.
Yes.
And then you and Mr. Elfstead got married.
Yes, 5 years ago.
And Ira Lovelock, he's been up for the last 3 years.
Yes.
Had you known him before that?
Not really. I knew of him, of course.
So he's been staying in the Elfstead home.
Well, I couldn't do the teaching and manage the household affairs.
Oh, so Mr. Lovelock is the tutor.
Yes.
And I imagine that your husband has to be away a lot.
He has a huge area to cover.
So much was left to you then. The usual anxieties of the bourgeois, the children's studies and their grinds, and the managing of the household routine, and the trouble of keeping and finding staff. And your husband, is he a considerate man? Is he a good provider? Is he faithful?
Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes.
Is he kind to you?
He probably thinks he is.
He's a great deal older than you, isn't he?
Yes. More than 20 years. We have nothing at all in common.
Does he love you?
Does he? I suppose in his own way. I'm useful, I'm cheap. I don't know if he cares about anyone, his children perhaps.
He cares, but I would love for him to.
What do you mean?
As you say, who can resist Ira? He did send you down to look after him, didn't he?
Not at all. He is away at the assizes somewhere. He doesn't even know that I am here. I just couldn't stay in Trondheim by myself, so I threw some things in a bag and I ran off. I think I was hysterical.
Not a word to anyone.
No, I just ran all the way to this train station. I think I was demented.
That was a very courageous thing of you to do, Sarah.
I don't think I had a choice.
But what are you going to do when you go back to your husband?
I am never going back there again.
So you've left your husband, your home, your anchor, and in broad daylight.
Yes.
And so you're drifting there.
Yes.
And you don't care what people think about a scandal.
Not really. Not at all, I think.
Oh, how I envy you that courage. My God, I wish I could muster that daring.
Not courage, is it? I don't think I had a choice.
Oh yes, I envy you, Taya Elfstead. Now, I want to hear all about you and Isla Loveborg. Taya and Isla, step by step, every detail.
Taya and Isla? Yes. I tell myself it has a special you for me.
And it has, step by step.
Taya and Isla. I used to watch him through the crack in the parlor door, teaching the children at the big mahogany table. The stooped shoulders, the lank hair, the patient hands, but especially the face, and those cornflower blue eyes, those hesitant, irresolute eyes that hinted at weakness. And always, always that wan, apologetic smile that seemed to confirm that weakness. Flinching before the sly bullying of the children and my husband's crude discourtesies. I could see just how damaged he was and incapable of protecting himself. That every lesson with the children and every encounter with my husband was an opportunity for humiliation. And watching him through the crack in the parlor door, I knew that I loved that weak, talented, damaged Irish lover. Yes! I loved him! Suddenly and fiercely and altogether without caution. A love so fierce and so palpable that I knew it could shelter him against some of those humiliation and retrieve that loss of confidence and indeed fortify him against the pull of the old excesses just because it was so palpable, because it was so fierce. And that's what I did, Hedda. I loved him away his dissipations. I loved him into an accord with himself. I even loved him into reciprocating my love for him. And so, step by step, he became more resolute. And step by step, that apologetic smile disappeared, and he began to laugh again. And with his new self-belief, he began to educate me. He opened me up just by talking to me and encouraging me to respond to him. And one day, he asked me, out of the blue, he asked me, would you like to help me with the book that I'm planning to write it with him? And I shocked myself. Of course I will! I said, me, the housekeeper, the daughter of the storeman on the docks. And that's what we did, Hedda. We wrote that book 6 hours a day for 18 months. Collaborators! That was his name for us. And during that time, I saw that our liberation was more than that. That it had within it an approval, maybe even a benediction on what we were doing. Taya and I learned collaborators. And that is it, Hedda. Step by step. No, I left out a step. There is a singer, dancer, performer back in town, and a creature with blazing red hair, a hussy. She and I were friends once. Well, acquaintances. He hadn't spoken to her for a long time. He received a letter from her last week that I know upset him. Apparently she carries a pistol in her handbag, and when they parted last, she threatened to shoot him.
People don't do that sort of thing. Strictly between you and me.
Oh, yes, please, Hedda.
Not a word.
Here we are. It's formal but very warm.
Mrs. Elfson's anxious to leave, George. I'll take her to the garden gate.
Give this to Bertha for me, would you?
Absolutely. But that's in the post immediately, Bertha.
Judge Brack is here to see you both.
Show him in and post that immediately.
Yes, madam.
I know, an unconscionable hour to be calling on people of feeling. Assure me I am welcome.
Always, Judge Brack.
Oh, the most elegant Mrs. Testman.
And this is Mrs. Elfstead, Judge Brack.
Oh, enchanté.
If you'll excuse me, Hedda.
You look different by daylight, Judge.
Really? Should that disquiet me?
You look even younger.
Oh, Mrs. Testman is elegant and artful.
And have you noticed that she's put on a little weight on her trousers?
Oh, it's much too early in the day to take cognizance of mere appearances.
Have you thanked the judge for all he's gone through for us, George?
Oh, I was about to.
No, it's nothing. It's my pleasure.
What we would do without you, I'm just not sure.
I'm sorry for fussing, but I really better be going.
Oh, am I interrupting something?
Oh, no, don't think that. Please, don't think that. I will tell you, I was just going.
Yes, she's very anxious to leave.
I'm very pleased to meet you. We shall meet again very soon.
Yes, I hope so.
The flowers were lovely.
Goodbye, George. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Adam, look around. What does your lady wife think of it all?
Oh, everything is just perfect.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Judge.
Splendid.
I think we'll probably move some stuff around a bit.
Of course.
And Hedda does say there's still some items that she has to purchase.
Items.
God knows what now. But it's nothing for you to be concerned about.
There's something we should talk about, I think, George.
Money.
Oh, good Lord, no. We can anguish over that later.
You want to talk about the furniture?
Yes, well, I do wish the furniture were a little more demure.
That's impossible, Judge. I mean, you know Hedda. Anything more demure? I think she may truly just wilt.
Oh, really?
But when the professorship comes through, I'll be on my salary and I'll be comfortably back on top of the finances again.
Oh, these matters take time, Testman.
Tell me, have you heard anything?
Oh, nothing reliable. Rumors, gossip. Yes, I did hear one bit of interesting tattle.
Huh?
Yes, your old friend Eilert Loveborg is back in town.
So Miss Elston told me.
Mrs.
Elston? The magistrate's wife. You just met her.
Of course. Oh, yes, a lady addicted to her anxieties, I suspect.
Oh, is she? Anyhow, Eilert Loveborg has been living with her and her husband on the outskirts of Trondheim.
Yes, and turned over a new leaf, would you believe?
Yes.
Yeah, completely reformed character, they say.
He has.
Like our friend St. Paul. But I'm afraid my dubious trade has taught me to be wary of sudden conversions.
And he has a new book out. Why, everyone is talking about it.
Yeah, so I hear.
A hugely popular success, apparently.
Yes, I'll be candid with you, George. I never did believe in Paul's conversion. I mean, tumbling from the horse and all that circus stuff. That's quite improbable.
Judge.
Well, so, Lovborg's new book? Oh yes, an enormous success. Jumbo, as I'm told the Americans have it. Jumbo. Rather sweet, isn't it?
He really is a brilliant man. And only a few years ago, everybody had written him off. I think he should make some money off this. But the question still remains, when all this fuss dies down, what will he live off of?
Oh, George's persistent worry about everyone. What will he live on? And what will who?
Father Clubboard, of course. I mean, that money that his uncle left him a few years ago must be long gone by now, and he can't very well release a book every single year, so what will become of him?
Or any of us?
Sorry?
Oh, he has relatives in the town. He still has a lot of clout. Clout. Sounds like an Americanism too, doesn't it?
I've heard they've washed their hands of him.
Oh, their golden boy?
Haven't spoken to him in years.
Say what you like, he has produced a successful book.
So Mrs. Elson was right. She has delivered him.
Where to?
Oh, redeem him, Judge. Rescue him up. Save.
Oh, save, good God, no. That word terrifies me. I will not have it.
Oh, that shouldn't worry you, Judge. It's not something you're likely to experience.
Maybe his family will find some work for him. I don't love work, I mean. That's right, Hedda. I did invite him over for dinner this evening.
Wait, but you're coming to my bachelor party this evening.
Oh,
I invited you down at the K last night.
Had you forgotten George?
oh, I'm sorry, I'm afraid I did. My apologies, Judge, I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't worry. Lovborg won't turn up here.
What?
Why won't he?
There's something both of you ought to know.
About Eilert?
About Eilert, about you two. The professorship, the actual appointment, it may not come through as easily or as quickly as we had hoped.
What?
In fact, I'm told they've decided to advertise the post again. The job may well attract many new applicants.
Like love.
Indeed.
But that's outrageous. I mean, they practically promised me that job. I just got married. I mean, we got married on the strength of that job. I mean, we have huge debts. And I borrowed money from Auntie Juju.
And I expect you'll get it. You just need to take part in the competition.
It will be like a kind of dual moment.
How can you be so damn calm, Hedda?
I can hardly wait to be up. In any case, my plans, they won't change, Judge.
Okay, well, I will be coming to pick you up later on this evening on my way home from my walk.
Yes. Do that, would you? I'm sorry, I'm just a bit out of it right
Goodbye,
now.
Judge. I'll see you later.
Au revoir. And I'm wrong. It's not an Americanism, clout. It's an archery term. The mark shot at. Fair clout. I'm glad I got that. Until this evening.
He's making all that up, isn't he? All that about a competition? Yeah, it's just to keep me on my toes. Isn't it? Oh, for God's sake. I'm shattered. He's right, isn't it? The job's gone. This just goes to show you can't live out your daydreams.
Is that what you're doing?
I don't know. Isn't it? We just got married, bought our dream house. I furnished it stylishly, but it was all on an expectation. It wasn't all a daydream, was it?
You promised we'd live in a certain style.
I did. And I wanted that for you. Really just for you. A beautiful house, a close circle of friends, and at the center of it all, you. My beautiful Hedda. I'm so sorry, you don't deserve this.
So, no butler.
No butler.
And the bay mare you promised me?
God, no, Hedda. The cost of the upkeep of it.
Well, at least I have one thing to keep me entertained.
What's that?
My father's pistols.
Pistols?
The pistols that General Gabler gave.
For God's sake, Hedda, don't even touch those awful things. For my sake, darling. Oh my goodness.